If you ever wondered how to install a roll-up door on a pole barn, you're going to find out today. We have Keith Collins and his wife Lauren here today, and we're going to be installing a 12x10 roll-up on the end of this pole barn. So while Keith's getting set up, we'll talk about this a little bit. This was framed out in metal, as you can see, so we've got all of the spacing here correct for the door. Keith came out while they were installing that on the pole barn here and made sure those measurements were correct. And we have electrical already up there. It'll be a powered roll-up door. Now what's interesting is I asked Keith, where is my switch going to be? And he said, wherever you want it to be, it's wireless. So that's really cool. So we'll be able to have the wireless switch over here behind the camera where we enter the pole barn. So when Deb comes through this door, instead of having to walk over to the actual roll-up door and hit a button, she'll have her wireless switch right here. She'll be able to open up the roll-up door and let her animals free into the pasture. What I think is really cool is the whole husband and wife team. That's what you get a lot out here on Piney Grove, and it's just cool to watch them work like a well-oiled machine. All right, Keith's got this handy-dandy water level with Lauren holding the other side. This is how Keith is going to use the water level. He's got Lauren holding this side. And then he's going to go over to the other side of the opening.
Correct. And
make some marks, I believe. So what he did is he laid all this out so there's no kinks in the hose. So it'll give a good level indication.
All right, Lauren, if you hold it up against there, like that right there, and once the water stops, mark it where the water level is. And then we'll measure it.
What will line up with that mark?
Fixing to measure it, and we're going to get the measurement, and it'll show whether one side's up or down. And then that way my door will be level against the floor.
He's got the water line that puts a mark on either side of the door, and then he measured it, and he said that the left side and the right side are 1/2 inch off, and that's most likely because the concrete isn't perfect. So this isn't the first time Keith has been on Piney Grove. He actually put in the roll-up door behind the camera, which is a manual roll-up door. And I don't know if you guys have had contractor work done, but it's hard to get someone to answer the phone. It's twice as hard to get someone to show up. And Keith has always answered the phone, and he always shows up on time. If you're in the North Florida or South Alabama area, look up Keith Collins. We will put his information on the screen and also down below in the description. So I asked Keith, how's he gonna get this roll-up door in? He said him and Lauren got it on the trailer, and they'll have no problem getting it set up on the lift to install it. I just asked Keith how much that door weighs. He said around 300 pounds. So each of them were lifting about 150 pounds over this uneven ground. And thankfully they didn't drop my door. Because the last door that we installed, when Keith went to install it, he didn't actually provide the door. It had a hole in it. Someone had put a forklift in it, and then we used some hammers to beat it straight, because doors were really hard to come by a couple years ago. So the motor size has got significantly smaller for these roll-up doors. So that thing is probably 1/3 of the size of what roll-up doors used to have in them. And they're telling me we're one of the first ones to get these installed. But it also means you're the first one to start the long-term test. So Keith put together the brackets ahead of time, and these brackets will attach to this part of the roll-up. And what we found up here is that he really didn't have a good way to attach the bracket because he didn't have the right screws to go into that metal. We thought maybe we could get a bolt here, but that this little channel or this corrugation won't necessarily be in the right place where he needs it up there. So what we're gonna do is take off that white trim, and we'll be able to through bolt it through that square tubing. We got the trim off, and now he's going to measure to make sure he has the right size bolts to go all the way through the tubing. So Keith puts up doors every day of his life. That's what he does for a business. And this one's being challenging because it's got a different structure or different framing than he's used to. So we're just working through the problems to make sure that we get this bracket installed and it's nice and secure, because that's a 300-pound door. The pole barn Keith is putting that roll-up door on is very unique because part of it's framed in wood, part of it's framed in metal, and the part that he's attaching the roll-up door to is not framed in the exact same way as this metal building that I'm in. So I'm going to show you how a roll-up door attaches on a true metal building. So it's a different type of door, and it doesn't have the electrical motor, but you can see that this L bracket attaches directly to the rail of the door. And the one that Keith is installing for me has to have a little space for the motor, and that L bracket or that frame for the roll-up attaches directly to the building as opposed to the rails that the door actually rolls up and down into. It don't count if you didn't make a face. Keith said, what do you think of the bolt? I said, what bolt? He put it in there and he siliconed it and he painted it. First class. All right, he's marking the second bracket. And he said once these brackets are on, this is going to go up really quick. And I watched him put up that other roll-up door that I showed you earlier. And after these brackets are on, it does go up really quick, especially with this lift here. I was wondering why the drill bit stopped. In hour 4 of our 2-hour garage door install, I've been giving Keith some grief because we thought this would go quick, but all that customization slowed him down. But luckily, there's no job after us, so this is the only job they had planned for the day. Unfortunately, they're not going to make any money on me today. Keith started cutting off those bolts without eye protection. I said, man, put some goggles on. I need you to finish this job today. We're getting ready for the big muscle movement here. We're going to get that door put up on those brackets, and then things are going to go real quick after that point. That's what Keith keeps telling me anyway. I've actually seen him do this before. This is really cool to watch. So much better than the way that I thought roll-up doors go up, which is a man on each side. Or in this case, a woman on one side and a man on the other. I was talking about husband and wife team earlier, and Keith started working the lift, and then he backed off and said, come on, hon, you can do this. About halfway up, we just got to get that part up to there. And then once that's up there, then he'll mount the motor on the other side, or he'll do the rails. We'll just have to see. Lauren's working the lift, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to get that pipe right there lined up with those holes where there'll be some U-bolts that drop down from the top. We're looking at that spacing there where that round rod comes out of the center of the spool and the bracket. Just making sure that that spacing is equal right there on both sides. You can see it's up on top of this bracket now. This side's on top as well, so it's supported by the brackets a little bit. So I thought he was going to use U-bolts, but he's going to use this tensioner bracket.
This is a tensioner bracket. Once I get it on there, I can put the motor on the other side, and then I can wind on the end of it, and it'll hold tension to it because this locks the bar in.
Okay, yeah, I see it now. I see it now. Yep.
And then it'll lock the tube in.
This is the first time Keith's put in this model of door opener, but we've got it figured out. And again, by we, I mean Keith. I was no help at all. It fits over that shaft coming out of the door. And then it has 2 prongs that go into the hole of the door. It spins and turns the door. You can see the holes there on the end, and that's what those prongs of the door opener fit into. So she's working the hoist so that he can have clearance as he puts the motor in. And another thing he had to make sure was on that bracket that he screwed into the wall that there was enough space to fit the motor into the end there. I'll show you what I mean on this side. On this side, it's a little bit tighter. The motor wouldn't have fit in there, so that bracket has to be put in correctly. I asked Keith, when the power is off, how do I get this door down? And he said there's a catch or a release or something with that motor. And then once you pull that, you can just pull it down manually. Because with storms and stuff, you never know when you lose power, and the only other way, other than to do it manually, would be to hook a generator up to it and power the door up or down. All right, we're making progress. We got the sensor right there, all routed across the top of the door, and the other one's over there. And what they do is make sure no one's in the path of the door when it comes down. And now Keith is putting up the left rail. So we really just got a rail on each side, and then the door's installed. And hopefully, if you'll see up there is the outlet, and you see the length of the cord, hopefully that cord will reach that outlet. It's gonna be close. We haven't tried it yet, but there will not be much to spare if it does fit. If it doesn't fit, we can get an electrician to come in and move that box down. But we really want to see this door go up and down before Keith leaves tonight. So if you're watching this video to see the installation of the door, but also to know how much a door costs in 2023, I was just talking to Keith, and he said before the pandemic, this door would have cost $1,750 installed. Today, it costs $3,850 to install this same door. So I just asked him if prices are stabilizing. He says they've been increasing over the past couple of years rapidly. He said, but he's starting to see a lot less supply chain issues, and also prices are stabilizing. So $3,800 to $4,000 should be the going price for this type of door going forward. After he gets all this off, the tracks will go on and we can bring the door down. Now, one thing that you can do on a garage door, a roll-up door, is you can get what's called hurricane-proof or wind-proof, and they have extra stabilizing straps that go on the side of the door and basically doesn't let air go past the track. Now, this one is not one of those type of doors, and those type of doors, it adds a significant amount to the cost. But you'll see some strapping here, and this is what's called a windlock door. The door we're putting on the pole barn is not a windlock door. I just asked Keith if we had asked for a windlock door on the pole barn, how much would that have added to it? He said about $1,000. So if that door on the pole barn was windlocked, it would be $4,800. Well, there's the door going up. And it's spring loaded, so it goes up largely by itself. The motor doesn't really have to pick up that much of it. So this thing is fighting us the whole way. This rail won't go up flush with the wall, so he's gonna have to drill a hole to allow that bolt, that nut right there, to protrude into the rail. So a little close-up of the problem, you'll see that nut right there that holds that bracket on. That's not allowing this track to ride flush on this mounting metal right here. So what he's gonna do is drill a hole in the back of the track so that that nut can go through the hole that he drills, and that'll let it lay flat on here so this can go down inside the rail properly. So that's the first screw of the track going into the stud of the wall, and he drilled those holes at the top of the track up there to go over top of those nuts. All right, so this is the first test of the door coming down in the new track he just put on. And this has just been a fight the whole way. I mean, he had to go out to the hardware store and get different bolts. He had to cut those bolts off, then he had to make a hole in the track so those bolts could protrude through. But it came down pretty smoothly, and that's not powered. That's with the emergency release pulled, and that's just the spring tension of the door. All right, Keith, explain how the water level that we used earlier gave you a smooth or a level bottom of the door.
When we first began, it told me it was a 1/2 inch off. So we raised up the side that needed the 1/2 inch. And your bottom seal along your, it would have been a 1/2 inch off. It would have been a gap you could have saw up under it. So now it's gonna set level.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being what a normal door would be to install of this size, where does this one rank for difficulty?
About a 9.
So Piney Grove wins again with a 9 for difficulty, but I don't know if Keith thinks that's a win. Once he gets this second track installed, we'll be real close to having the door installed, and then hopefully we can just hit that button and watch the door go up and down. We're ready to put on the second rail here. Keith is a great husband. He's wiping off his wife's handprints that she put all over my brand new door. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that.
Hello, buddy.
I keep asking him, like literally every 15 minutes, are we at the point where we can hit the button? The door wasn't heavy enough, so Keith decided he was gonna add some weight to it. I'm sure Deb will appreciate that. Now he's installing the stop. So you got this bar here, then you have a bar up there that will catch that and not let it over rotate or roll up. Here's the moment of truth. Will the power cord reach the electrical box? Keith's run out of ladder though. Hopefully OSHA isn't watching this. Oh yeah, we got plenty. Putting the door sensors in. He's got the left side in. The right side's ready over there. Getting real close to hitting that button. We got the door to come down and go up one time, but it's not really doing it as quickly as it's supposed to. The door doesn't have a lot of weight because it's spring loaded, so it's not like the motor has to do a lot of work. This is coming all the way up. It wouldn't do this just a minute ago. Yeah, so he was holding the buttons, and now it looks like it's going through some sort of programming. Maybe it'll hit the bottom and bounce and, nope. See, he's not touching anything.
Shut off in just a minute.
Looks like it's auto programming. Keith said it'll shut off in a minute. We're gonna put the roll-up door wireless switch right here, or control, and the door is over there. So we'll have that one mounted on that post, and then we'll also have 2 that you can put in your pocket or put in your car. So that's pretty neat. We don't have to run wires or anything. All right, it's all installed. Here we go. Here's the checkout. Push the button. And the door's going down. That's nice. That's just so awesome. We'll catch you on the next video, guys.